just different versions of the same player, or is there a clear, I do this better, he does, I mean, you know what I'm asking here?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I can get kind of what you're saying. I mean, everybody has different skill sets. You know, not everybody's the same quarterback. I would say I'm a little bit more athletic than Kyle, but, I mean, at the end of the day, we both got strong arms, we both can make plays, and he's going to be able to make plays with his legs too. So just is what it is.
Second row right, Nathan Baird, Cleveland.com.
I asked him this question too. What's the most important football thing you accomplished this summer?
Probably just leadership, honestly. You know, when I hurt my finger, I wasn't able to do anything. You know, I wasn't able to do much of the lifts, but to be able to be in that locker room and in that weight room and just being able to vocalize myself and get guys going and push guys and really show guys that I'm here to do this thing.
Front row right, Tim May, Letterman Row.
Yeah, I was wondering, Devin, has Coach Jebbia helped you at all since spring and stuff? I mean, he aspires to be in that, you know, that room on the other side eventually. What have you gotten from him? What have you and Kyle gotten from him over the last couple of months?
Tristan's been an extremely incredible resource for us. I mean, he's done it for 7 years in college, and so, you know, he's had ups and downs through his career, and he's had moments that a lot of us won't be able to you know, go through, and he's had moments that he wishes he wouldn't have been able to go through, but he's had them, and he's able to have learned from them and give us lessons on them. And we've been able to meet with him every day. I mean, I know I have this offseason. I've just grabbed Tristan every day and gone into the quarterback room and just watched tape. I mean, we've even watched tape of him at Oregon State. Doesn't matter what we're watching. I mean, he's just always given insight to, you know, different things that he did and different ways he performed. And, you know, he's given us a lot of tips that have been really helpful to me.
And one quick, do you go into this feeling like in a golf tournament, it's the last round, but maybe you're trailing, but you have a shot? I mean, what is your thought going into this? Do you feel like you're even Steven coming out of the gate?
It's none of that's even crossing my mind. You know, I'm just trying to go out there and help this team win. You know, whoever it is, we're just trying to be the best versions of ourselves every day, and we're not worried about, you know, at the end of a practice, we're not going to be like, oh, he did better than me this day or that. It's how did I perform? You know, what did I get better today? What was I really working at today to get better? And if I get myself better every day, that's going to be a really good, you know, few months that I build up.
Deep center field, Jeremy Birmingham, the podcast Rivals.
Devin, with this summer going the way it did, with you not being able to throw much, you know, how did you handle that from a mental standpoint, number one, but when did you get back to the point where you were able to throw the ball normally and that sort of stuff?
Yeah, I mean, when I first got back, I mean, obviously I came back a little bit early from my injury, whatever it was, a week or something like that. So it was a little different throwing the ball. Just even gripping the football was a little awkward at first, but, I mean, that went away after, you know, a week of throwing. I mean, I was pushing it back home, like, even while I still wasn't totally clear, just trying to get back to it because, obviously, you know, I'm going to want to, you know, keep my edge and try to keep going. But it really wasn't different for me. I had the whole summer to keep throwing. We've had OTAs. I didn't miss anything. I mean, maybe a couple things in the lifts that I wasn't able to do, but then I'm fully cleared, and I was cleared maybe 2 weeks into the summer, so I was good to do everything and don't feel like I lost anything.
More athletic than you, by the way.
That's all right. I'll jump higher than him today.
Fourth row middle, Pat Murphy, 24/7 Sports.
Devin, Coach Day was talking about when he first was named starting quarterback, he tried to make plays, and that turned into interceptions. Kyle's been out there a bit more than you have. He started a game, so he's gone through some of this already. How do you kind of mentally prepare yourself for, if you are out there week one, just playing the game and not letting it become too big and trying to do too much?
Yeah, definitely. I think that's the biggest thing is not making it too big of a deal and trying to force things or I need to make this kind of play or something like that. It's just, you know, doing my assignment and making each play like it's just an assignment and I just got to hand the ball off right this play or I got to make the right read. I mean, nothing's got to be, you know, too extreme. You got to keep everything very level.
3 seats over to the left, Andy Backstrom, Letterman Row.
Devin, you mentioned during the time you weren't being able to play, you stepped up as a leader. Have you always been someone that's led, and how those workouts in the summer with Mick helped you kind of tap into that?
Yeah, I mean, Coach Mick has been able to give me that voice as well, you know, working with him every day and, you know, getting me around, lifting with the right guys and being able to vocalize myself to guys like Marv and Cade Stover and, you know, our linemen and stuff has been really helpful to me. I feel like I've always had that, you know, those leadership qualities, but coming in as a freshman behind C.J. Stroud, it's like, what are you going to vocalize as? You know, I haven't done anything on the field or anything. Even still, I haven't done anything on the field. But, you know, they've seen me in spring. They've seen me vocalize myself, and I think they trust me.
Third row right, Cameron Teague Robinson, The Athletic.
You and Kyle both talk a lot about leadership, and you just mentioned when CJ's there, you kind of mentioned it. CJ's there, you can take a step back. It's his team. Usually, there's one quarterback. It's their team, their voice. How did you balance all offseason trying to grow your voice with the team while Kyle's trying to do the same thing? You know what I'm saying? Like the team has like two of them.
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be, you know, different feelings from each of us, but at the end of the day, everybody's worried about who's going to win and who's going to win this game. So nobody really cares, you know, what one guy's doing right now and what the other guy's doing. They just want somebody to vocalize themselves and, you know, keep pushing our team, because that's all we're worried about is winning games. And nobody cares who's going to be playing. We just want people to win games. We want to get each other better, and we want this team to get better. So that's what we're just going to keep doing.
Third row left, Dan Hope, Lebanon Warriors.
Devin, you know, your spring being cut short, do you feel like you were able to show everything you needed to show in the spring to give yourself a chance this summer?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, obviously I didn't get to play in the spring game, but at the end of the day, it wasn't too big of a deal. You know, we keep everything vanilla, and we don't really do much in the spring game, but I would have really liked to play in it. You know, obviously I'm very competitive, and I would have wanted to do that, but I felt like from the time that we started the spring and the time that I ended, I felt like I grew, you know, a ton, and I was able to, again, vocalize myself and be a leader to these guys. I felt like my play just improved, my decision-making improved, and, you know, if you improve throughout a spring, I think it's a very good spring.
Front row right, Joey Kaufman, Columbus Dispatch.
Devin, what was that rehab process like? What are the things you're doing when you're recovering from the finger?
You know, just with Sean and Stu and Solo and Tyler and all those guys in the training room, just with them every day, just trying to get everything right. You know, just getting all my movement back and everything. It was, at first it was mostly just healing and letting it do nothing. But then as soon as I had all my movement back, it was just, you know, getting everything going again and make sure my finger's not stiff or anything and being able to throw a football again. That was the end goal.
You remember like the first time back or you threw the football and it looked like it normally does for you?
I think it was like a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks after the surgery that they even allowed me to grip a football. But obviously, you know, I was going to try to push the chips in and try to keep going. But I remember when I first threw after I think it was 4 weeks that I actually threw it came off a little weird, and I was like, that didn't feel right at all. But you know, it just was. I hadn't done it. Now that was the longest time I hadn't thrown a football. So it was just awkward at first, but then it's good.
Deep right, Spencer Holbrook, Letterman Row.
Devin, this summer, with all the workouts that you did, all the things that you went through with your rehab and everything, do you feel like you're a much better player for having gone through all of that?
Yeah, 1,000%. I mean, like I said, with having Tristan around me, you know, he's went through some crazy injuries. I mean, he was out for 2 years. He was bedridden for 2 years, couldn't move. So he's had those challenges of taking something that he really loved away from him. So, I mean, just being able to sit with him and realize what he did and what worked for him, what didn't work for him, and being able to learn from what happened to him, it really helped me push my, process along faster and just get back to going. And I feel like I grew a lot better than I would have if Tristan wasn't here because of that.
Front row right, Austin Ward, Rivals, dotting the I's.
Devin, when you talk about that growth, I know that the answer to this is going to be both, but if you could only pick one, do you feel like you've made more progress physically or mentally over the last year?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's going to be both. I mean, I put some weight on and stuff like that, been getting right with Coach Mick, but I think mentally it's probably been the biggest thing. Sitting with Coach Fitch and Coach Dennis and Tristan in there, I mean, just my preparation has changed and what I see in film and what I'm really trying to look at. I'm not, sitting in there just going and watching plays. I've really learned from those guys and figured out what I really needed to sit down and learn from those meetings and taking different things out of meetings every day. So I feel like my mental side of the game has changed completely.
Right behind him, Bill Landis, the podcast.
Devin, you're expressing a lot of confidence right now that, the time you had to miss is not any kind of setback for you. But when it first happened, did you approach it that way, or was there any part of you that was like, well, that's it, I'm hurt?
No, I mean, it was funny. When I first got hurt, I called my dad. We're sitting in the hospital. I called my dad, and I told him I broke my finger and I'm going to need surgeries. And his first reaction was, why aren't you upset? And I was like, at the end of the day, I'm going to miss, 1 week. I mean, I'm going to grow from this, and this isn't going to be anything to, just sit my hat on or anything like that. I'm going to be right back out there. This wasn't a step in the road at all for me. I mean, if anything, it was a step up, and that was my mindset through the whole thing, is this is going to really help me.
Front row middle, Bill Rabinowitz, Columbus Dispatch.
Devin, you clearly have an naturally outgoing personality. Kyle seems to be more on the quieter side, at least, what we've seen. How would you kind of contrast and compare your personalities? And do you think that your personality can really help you in terms of the competition, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, when you're more outgoing and stuff like that, I mean, I feel like guys can, gel around you and form around you just because if you're more vocal and stuff like that. But Kyle's very vocal. Kyle's a great leader. Guys trust Kyle, and he's been, good in all those steps as well. So, I mean, I wouldn't say there's anything crazy out of those two things.
Second row left, Stephen Means, Cleveland.com.
You're talking about how you don't feel like the finger thing was that big a setback because you only missed a week. You also didn't throw a pass last year, and you're in a competition with the guy who's at least started a game, even if it was 2 years ago. But you also seem like a pretty competitive guy. Why don't you see these things as a disadvantage, and why you can win this battle?
You're saying in terms of not being able to play in a game yet?
Yeah.
I mean, we do it every day in practice. We're going against the ones every day in practice, you know. And when we're lining up for a scrimmage and we got the best D-line in the country coming at us, it's a lot different than, you know, getting some throws against, you know, a lesser team or something like that. And you know, and when it's their third guys in the game too, it's like, am I really getting that much out of it of throwing a pass in a game? I mean, I'd much rather go out against, you know, our DBs, our guys like Denzel and David Tadem-Ganosa and all these guys with our guys like Marvin and stuff. And, you know, being able to go like that in practice, I think it's way better than, you know, having a couple reps in a game.
Do you think there are other things that you've maybe done over the past year that make up the fact that you haven't necessarily played? You've gotten to throw a pass in a game yet?
I mean, yeah, like I said, just these practices throughout the year, especially, you know, when the week of Georgia when CJ was up in New York, we were able to, that was the first time where I really took the reps with the ones, and I felt good. I felt like I was playing my best football, I mean, that I had throughout the season, and I feel like every time I'm going against the best competition, I feel like that's when I'm at my best. And so, you know, I've been able to do that every day of the spring and every day of the summer with Kyle. So it's just a constant continuation of getting better.
Well, last question, Jeff Jeffries, Press Pros, far left.
Yeah, Coach has talked a lot about competition this year, making everything a competition. What's that been like, and how has that impacted you guys in your competition for being a quarterback?
I mean, every day has been the same for us. We're trying to get each other better. You know, we're trying to see who's really going to help this team win. That's all we're worried about. We're worried about getting our guys better. Who's going to get out there and beat Indiana week 1? That's all we're worried about. We're just trying to get this team better. I mean, we have all the right tools, and we know that, and so all we're worried about is how we can help each other.